Everybody, welcome to the NBDA Live here with the National Black Doulas Association. I just want you guys to know I'm truly glad to be here. My name is Diona Woods, and I'm a birth and postpartum doula. I'm also a lactation educator and the founder of Roots to Rhythm Maternal Services. But more excitingly, I am one of the directors or the regional directors here with the NBDA. Um, I do currently serve Ventura County and some parts of LA County. And the reason why I show up to our birth work or here as a birth work is because I believe that every family does deserve the care that they should and that they do want, and something that represents them and allows them to birth the way they want to. So tonight we're here to talk about birth work and some of the hospital experiences that we have been seeing. So basically this is just a space for honesty and like real conversation and community. So at this moment I am going to talk from the heart, so just bear with me, you guys. I do believe that birth is powerful. I believe that birth is transformative and it's also sacred, right? We also know that in today's climate, a lot of births do take place in hospitals. And hospitals are spaces that can bring excitement and joy and also uncertainty and fear. Now, I do know for our Black birthing parents and our Black birthing people that those feelings don't just come with joy and excitement, right? They also come with anxiety and fear. And that's pretty much from history and a lot of what we know, which is racism in healthcare, or even those stories that are passed down from like families or friends. Now, as a doula, I do want you guys to know that we do not replace the medical care that you guys receive in these hospital systems. Instead, we're here to support the whole person. And what I mean by that is emotionally, mentally, physically, culturally, and spiritually, right? So our goal is to help families feel confident in their decisions, informed, so they have the resources that they need to make those confident decisions, and more importantly, to feel respected and heard. We want to help you guys make those decisions without pressure. I know sometimes we get into hospitals or into clinics and we have this thing called white coat syndrome where we believe and we want to do everything that that provider or that nurse is telling us to do. And we kind of disregard our own cultural beliefs or like what we feel is right or even what we want to do. So this is why this conversation just really matters. Now, for me, my journey into birth work does not look like a lot of people's, but I will say it's one that I'm extremely proud that I've been able to like step into. So before I became a doula, I actually like served in the military. So I was in the Navy. I worked in aviation, something completely far-fetched from the birth work community. Now, around like the last 2 years into the Navy, I did have my daughter. And I feel like although I always wanted to be a doula, that me experiencing being pregnant, me experiencing labor and delivery, that like really tapped in and kind of solidified why I know I needed to become a doula and why it's so important to do this work. When I was pregnant, I had a complication, and at the time, the provider that I seen did not acknowledge it, right? He kind of just shooed it off as my skin just being dry because I was super itchy. Come to find out, I had ICP, which is cholestasis of pregnancy. So my liver wasn't really functioning properly, and one of the symptoms is people have a lot of itching on their hands and their feet. For me, I had a lot of itching on like my limbs, so like my arms and my legs, which is why they dismissed it. I ended up seeking care with somebody that looked like me and somebody that heard me to the point where I didn't feel ignored and I felt seen. And that's how we was able to catch that I had ICP. So I share that with you guys because I know that sometimes the system can help families, but I also know that sometimes the system can ignore families, and that's not what we stand for as doulas. We're here to make you feel seen and make sure that you're heard and that your opinions and your voice is loud for us all to hear. Now, for me, when I discovered birth work, I felt like this was the piece that was finally missing in my life, and like I'm finally able to step in and tap into what God kind of placed me on earth to do. So I want to say that doulas, we basically don't just support birth. We're here to again help you feel seen, feel safe, but also protected and respected during one of the most transformative like experiences in your life. Now, as we kind of step into discussing like these hospital experiences, I just want you guys to know that we are not blaming individuals, but this is a space that we want to like really just acknowledge real stories and real people, right? Oftentimes, people have to like put on their HR voice or put on their HR selves, but here right now, like, no, like this is who I am, this is how I show up, and this is how we want families to receive us, right? We want them to be themselves and to know that they can trust in us, right? So we want to help you guys to where you're not, or where you don't feel rushed, where you don't feel ignored, but also we want to make sure that the care you receive is respected and beautiful, and the care that you want and that you would wish that people would show up for you. So I do know that like experiences vary, but there is a need for constant and strong support. So again, as doulas, we're here to help families be a part of their own birth. We don't step in and take in your birth. We don't take over your partner's role. We try to educate and empower them so they can help the birthing person, but also so the birthing person can help and advocate for themselves. We want to make sure that the matters that you want to hear about, you receive the right education and the right information. We're also here to like really bring a steady presence to your space. We know a lot of times that hospitals are super busy and we can just get lost in the sauce, right? But we want to be a steady presence to let you know that you're seen, that we hear you, and also be a calm voice and a reassurance voice. Because I know for me, when I have a steady and a calm voice, it definitely can help turn like anxiety and fear into understanding and calmness. And that's what a lot of doulas are here to do for you. We want to be like that reassuring touch that kind of changes the atmosphere or what you guys are going through from those heightened emotions to something that you can be a lot more level-headed with. Now, why doulas and why the work that we do matters, I just want to say that doulas help birth because it's a way of preparation. A lot of people don't realize that with birth, it should come preparation. Oftentimes, we just go through the motions. We try to work through our births. We don't take the time to sit and feel how we're feeling. But that's where like doulas and birth workers come in at, right? We're here to help you prepare for birth. It's about protection and it's about presence. We want you guys to know that we care for you, we love you, we see you. And we also want families to understand their options and feel more in control and more empowered versus walking away and saying, dang, I had a traumatic birth experience. You know, we want you guys to be proud of the birth experience that you have, regardless of if it's the way that you planned it or not, because we do know that uncertainties and unforeseen circumstances pretty much come about. So here at the National Black Doulas Association, we're pretty much dedicated to ensuring that Black birthing people receive the care that they need culturally and supportively. And that's basically what doulas are here to do, and why we serve and why we try to serve with excellence. So with that being said, if you are thinking about hiring a doula, I encourage you to reach out to a doula. Even if you're not sure if you want to, still reach out to a doula and hear what they have to say, or maybe they can recommend you to somebody else if you feel like they're not the fit for you, because everybody deserves to have people by their side. I know oftentimes we think that our mom, our partner, our best friend is all we need. And yes, that is true, but it's so much better when you have the support of somebody that works inside of the system and know how things kind of operate and flow. Now, if you feel that you're called to birth work, I just want you guys to know that there is room for you here with the NBDA, where we can pretty much nurture your growth. I think me doing my training initially with the NBDA, it definitely like changed my life and made me feel more confident stepping into birth work. It made me feel like empowered and like I had a home. So for anybody that's pretty much preparing for birth, again, I just want you guys to know that you deserve to be seen as the full person that you are, and not just a patient or a number or a person with a dollar sign over their head. You know, I want you to know that the questions that you have are valid, the feelings that you are feeling are real, and that your preferences matter. So we want your birth story to belong to you and not just what an entity makes it out to be. Now, for our future doulas or for our doulas already, I just want you guys to know that your presence really does matter, and it changes the trajectory of like the room and how people's outcomes can. When we step into the room, oftentimes families are receptive of us, but so are the medical staff. And for some reason, sometimes it forces the medical staff to be on their P's and Q's and to treat the patients how they should, regardless of if we're there or not. So our presence does help our families feel steady, and it gives them a sense of calm in such a overwhelming time for them. And your support becomes part of the family's memory and that long lasting memory for years to come. So I just want to emphasize that birth work is not just a service, right? It's a responsibility, and it's truly a gift to the doula and to the parents, because as doulas, we learn from the parents and from the families, and the families learn from us. So if you want to be a part of the movement that strengthens families and saves lives, please feel free to reach out to the NBDA. Go ahead and go on our website. You can follow us. You can click through things. If you stumble upon other doulas, feel free to reach out to them. And before I end, I just want to say thank you guys so much for spending the time with me, and that we're here to share your truth, and we're here to help you transform, rather in the birth community or be a part of that transformation in the birth community. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Diona, for leading this live. I just wanted to ask just a few questions before we wrap up this evening. What can people define as respectful care during their birth from a provider or from a birth worker?
Absolutely. I think that respective care, it means to be seen, right? It means to be heard. It means to be valued. And for them not to rush through your experience, but take the time and educate you or provide you with the resources that you need and that you want.
So, what's one thing do you wish doctors or nurses understood about Black birth?
Oh, girl, that's a loaded question.
It is.
I think the one thing that I want them to understand about Black birth is that our births are not typical, right? When they go through their trainings, oftentimes their studies, these science journals, their research is not based on Black birthing people. And the way we have symptoms that show up for us is not the same for our counterparts, and that don't look at us as we don't fit the typical, but maybe look at us as, hey, let me see how I can or what I can do to help this Black birthing body, instead of just grouping them into the norm, because we're not the norm, you know. And to really
Yeah.
just take their time and listen to us. Oftentimes we have, most people have intuition, but I feel like as Black people, we have a lot more like spiritual connection with our ancestors and intuitiveness, that we know when there's something not right with us. And if they just take the time and listen, they could help us fix it, instead of just trying to put a band-aid on it and just hurry up and booting us out.
Yeah, I love that. And then here's my last question. So, what questions do you think every family should ask their provider before giving birth? Specifically, Black and Brown families, just to help them feel prepared and feel as safe as possible throughout their birth experience.
Absolutely. I moved from New York to California, and there's just not a lot of people that look like me in the area that I'm in. I work in healthcare, and we are a rare jewel, right? I think the one thing that I would want a Black person to ask their providers is, are you comfortable with me? Right. And not only that, but are you going to give me the truth, or are you going to give me the blanketed answer that you give everybody else? I don't like fluff, and I like people to be straightforward with me. And I feel like a lot of times they're not, they tread lightly, and that's not how they should act when they see us in the room. They should just talk to us like we're a regular person. So for that, I would ask them like, hey, I know we don't look alike, but are you comfortable with me? Because my goal is to be comfortable with you.
Hmm. I love that. Love that. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up. Thank you all for tuning in this